Things a lot calmer now, weather-wise, certainly around here. Nick Kelly.
Absolutely, Dell. It was amazing to see how these storms unfolded today. They started out in western Kansas. They're now in Mississippi. We're talking about these storms traveling 700 miles almost ever since they got going this morning. Thankfully, though, as you have mentioned, Dell, things are calm. I was expecting to see if we could get a few scattered storms to pop up, but nothing on the Skywatch storm tracker. Can't rule out a few thunderstorms overnight, but I think once we hit sunrise and by the time we get ready to head to work in the morning, I think we should start on a quiet note for a nice change around here. Right now, temperatures are in the upper 60s to lower 70s all across the board. I expect us to stay quiet overall, with the exception of a few thunderstorms, otherwise 66 in the morning. And I have highs going back into the upper 80s tomorrow with another shot of thunderstorms, but it won't be long until we get a good chance to dry out. We'll see what the weekend looks like coming up in a bit now.
All right, we'll see you then. Thanks, Nick.
We are finally quiet after we had another good round of rain and thunderstorms to start the day, but it's amazing to see how these storms unfolded. Like the past few nights, they started out in western Kansas, and look at where they are now. They are in Mississippi and Louisiana. We're talking about 5 or 6 states spanning a total of almost 700 miles. It's amazing to see how these storms have lasted so long. If we did not see any of the severe weather in our neck of the woods today, we saw another good dosing of rain. Needless to say, the radar estimates have rain amounts area-wide about an inch on average. Needless to say, if you got underneath the heavier pockets of rain, 3, 4, maybe close to 5 inches. And it's a nice change of pace now to see nothing. Nothing on the Skywatch storm tracker. Still can't rule out a few thunderstorms before we hit sunrise, but most of us should remain quiet as we get the morning ahead of us underway. Not looking bad from downstream Casino, going back into northeastern Oklahoma. The official numbers from the airport in Joplin today had us starting at 67. At a high today of only 81 degrees, thanks to the clouds, the rain, and the storms. Officially at the rain bucket, almost an inch of rain today, but it's amazing to see how close we are to closing the gap in terms of rain amounts. We are already well ahead of the rain for the month, 4 3/4 of an inch. Above that by almost 3 inches. And for the year, just shy of 25 inches. I'm only behind now for the year by 3/4 of an inch. Hard to believe we're catching up during what's usually one of our drier months of the year in general. Right now, though, it's quiet. 69 in Joplin, a calm breeze, dew point sitting in the upper 60s. I expect us to bottom out in the middle to upper 60s as we go through the overnight. So we'll go from 72 at Fort Scott, 69 in Columbus, 70 in the Osho, 69 in Greenfield. And again, we should bottom out in the mid-60s before we hit sunrise tomorrow morning. The Skywatch storm tracker again, quiet in our neck of the woods, but our storms today paled in comparison to the cluster of storms that had numerous wind damage reports out east of Tulsa and eastern Oklahoma. And look at those reports continue on into Mississippi tonight. We say good riddance to that complex of storms. The overall setup has the front just on top of us, and it's going to continue to sink south a little bit. That means we'll try and trend a little drier for tomorrow. At least for most of the day, we're looking pretty good. Partly cloudy skies for tonight. Again, can't rule out a few thunderstorms before we hit sunrise. Otherwise, partly cloudy, and we'll have lows starting in the mid-60s. Going into tomorrow afternoon, I expect us to be generally partly sunny, and it won't be until after 2, 3, or 4 o'clock where we'll have to keep an eye on some spotty thunderstorms that may get going again as long as that front hangs around. 66 in the morning, let's say 82 by noon, and afternoon highs about 88 degrees. We'll mainly have a light east breeze at about 5 to 10. Quick look at Friday night. We'll have to watch for thunderstorms again. Some of those could be strong, but I'll continue to keep my eyes on those should they start to become a little mischievous. Saturday, I've got another round of thunderstorms before that front finally lifts back north. Both thunderstorm chances today and tomorrow, rather, than Saturday, means highs in the upper 80s. Then we're dry going into much of next week. But we start in the lower 90s early next week, Dow, to maybe 97 by next Thursday.
More like what we're accustomed to seeing, really, in a typical July.
Yeah, hot and humid, but at least a good chance to dry out.
All right. Thanks, Nick. Jacob.